You ever notice how the worst day of your life can start out looking like any other Tuesday? Yeah, that was me. Hair set, pies warm, my hip creaking just loud enough to remind me I'm not 25 anymore, but stubborn enough to ignore it. I'd been handing out pie and tea in front of St. James Baptist every week for so long folks started calling me Mama S. Like I said, I don't sell anything. I don't need a sign. I just believe a slice of something sweet can keep a soul hanging on. Sometimes that's all a person needs to get through another day. Funny, right? You survive your husband's funeral, 3 surgeries, and 7 decades in this city, and what gets you tackled by the cops is giving away dessert. So there I was, on my regular corner at 145th and Plymouth. Just me, my pies, folding table, and this old battered kettle, steam curling out like hope on a cold morning. The lineup that day: apple, pumpkin, peach. Nothing store-bought, just the real stuff: cinnamon, nutmeg, butter, and, if you ask me, a little leftover prayer. Folks trickled by, some regulars, a couple of new faces, a mom pushing a stroller who never takes more than half a slice because she wants the rest for her boy. Then Jarvis showed up. He's a Vietnam vet, missing 2 fingers, but never his manners. He hugs me so tight, I nearly spill the tea. "You saving my life again, Mama S." He grins, and I laugh. Because what else can you do when a grown man says something like that with tears in his eyes? But peace doesn't last long on our block. Not when your skin tone makes you look guilty before you've even done anything. I saw the patrol car before I heard it, creeping up slow like a cloud about to storm. 2 cops. One young, real jumpy, looked like he hadn't seen a smile since birth. The other older, hard around the eyes, like he'd forgotten what kindness sounded like. They step out, hands already at their belts, scanning the crowd like they're looking for trouble. And boy, did they decide it was me. "You selling food without a permit?" the young one barked, like I was running a speakeasy and not a charity. I kept my voice low and steady, the kind of calm you only learn after surviving people trying to tell you what you're worth your whole life. "Sir, nothing here is for sale." Pastor Hughes and Councilman Mendez both said it was okay. "I'm just serving neighbors, that's all." But rules don't mean much when someone's already decided you're a problem. "Show me the paperwork," he snapped, and I reached for my purse. Real slow, because you learn after a while that sudden moves can make folks nervous, especially when they're wearing a badge. Didn't matter. Next thing I know, his hand was clamped on my shoulder like a vice. And then, bam, I was on the ground. Hard. My hip screamed, cheeks smashed against the sidewalk, pies all over the pavement like some twisted celebration. The smell of butter and cinnamon mixed with the hot sting of spilled tea on my hands. I could hear people yelling, phones coming out, the crowd swelling. Somebody screamed, "That's Mama Esther." And for a second, I thought, maybe this'll get them to stop. But no, the young cop was kneeling on my back, spitting "Stop resisting," like I was some kind of threat. Me, a 72-year-old grandma in a church apron. Let me back up a sec. If you've never felt the world shrink to the size of a curb, trust me, you don't want to. My mouth filled with the taste of blood and concrete. I gasped, "I need to call my son," and the old cop just parroted, "You have the right to remain silent." Like he was proud he remembered his training. Jarvis, bless his heart, was shaking so hard I thought he might fall over. He'd seen napalm, and still, he looked more scared for me in that moment than for himself back then. "It's just pie, man. It's just pie," he kept saying, his voice cracking. Now, when I say the block went silent, I mean even the wind held its breath. Phones were up, people were recording, some calling my name, others shouting for help. I barely lifted my hand, enough to signal Jarvis. He pressed my old flip phone into my palm, the one with the paint chipped off the number 5. I called my son, the only number I ever remember. "Baby, it's Mama. They did it again. I'm outside St. James. I didn't cry. I don't let myself, not in front of people, not anymore." I just hung up and waited. 5 minutes, might as well have been 5 years, passed. The air changed. You know that feeling before a thunderstorm? That's what it felt like. A big black SUV pulled up, windows tinted, engine purring low. Out stepped my son, not in uniform, but you could tell by the way he moved he'd seen some things and come through on the other side. His shoulders were squared like he was carrying more than groceries, like he was holding up everything I'd ever fought for in this city. He knelt down beside me, his hands gentle, voice quiet, but ice cold. "Mama, did they hurt you?" I nodded, not trusting myself to speak. He looked up at the officers. No fear, just this chilling kind of calm that made everyone stop moving, even the loudmouth with the badge. "Which one of you put your hands on my mother?" he asked, real slow. Neither answered. The older cop even took a step back. My son stood, pulled out a badge, military, not police, and the crowd started whispering, eyes wide. Delta Force. Not retired. Not some old friend calling in a favor. He was active, and he was pissed. He read out their names, Crow and Mathis, and the look on their faces. Man, I almost felt bad for them. Almost. "You're both under arrest," he said, and cited off Title 18, Sections 242 and 245. Assault under color of law. Assault on an elder. Federal charges. The young cop sputtered. "You can't arrest us. You have no jurisdiction." My son just stared, all steely. "Try me." Click. He cuffed them with their own cuffs. Crowd erupting in cheers. Cameras everywhere. People hollering so loud, I thought the church windows would rattle. By the time the ambulance arrived, my hands were shaking, but not from pain. From something like relief, maybe. For once, I was being lifted up by folks who saw me as a person, not a problem. As they put me on the stretcher, I caught a glimpse of my son standing between the block and those two officers, solid, unflinching, like a wall built out of every time someone said we didn't belong, every time someone called us less than human. He didn't make a speech, didn't smile for the cameras. He just stood there, making sure everybody knew. This is what justice looks like when it finally shows up. Sometimes you don't need noise. Sometimes the loudest kind of justice is just quiet. So, yeah, they slammed a grandma for handing out pie, but they forgot the oldest rule in this city. Never underestimate the people who built it. The next Sunday, folks brought extra tables, twice as many pies, and no cop dared come near. People talked, argued. Some said it was about race, some about power, some just about how tired everyone was of being scared. And as for those two officers, they're fighting charges, lawyers up to their necks in paperwork. But the story didn't end that day. It just cracked wide open. What would you have done if it was your mother lying on the sidewalk? Where's the line between law and just plain cruelty? I want to hear what you think. Was my son right to step in the way he did, or did it go too far? Tell me. Because justice? It's never just one story. It's all of us, deciding together where we draw the line. You know what I mean?